Hi. So this is going to be the first in a series of videos I'm going to do on axes in general, axes and tomahawks. So I'm just going to talk today about axes and classifications, really. To me, an axe is an axe is an axe. I don't care if it's tomahawk, a hatchet, a felling axe, a carpentry axe, whatever. An axe is an axe. There's some people who will argue and debate just stupidly over what the difference between a hatchet and a tomahawk is. They're functionally the same. Some people will say that tomahawk is meant as a weapon, or tomahawk was a Native American weapon. That's not necessarily true. When the Europeans came over, Native Americans were still using celt axes. Iron tomahawks are a European invention. And they flavored them to appeal to the natives as trade items. If you go to the University of Tennessee Museum, the McClung Museum, they have some genuine iron trade axes in there that are they're amazing to look at. But again, they actually look more like, kind of like this burler over here. They're just very plain hatchet heads. They don't look like the later style stuff like you'd see with the cold steel pipe hawk. Classifications, they're just kind of bullshit. What one person might consider, in the case of like the burler, CRKT said as a tactical pack axe. To me, it makes a great carpentry axe. The design of it, the shape, the fact that it's bearded so you can get your hand under there. I mean, it works perfectly as a carpentry axe. I have cold steel pipe hawk, cold steel rifleman's hawk, Viking hand axe, and this is a Condor Greenland pattern. This is like a small forest axe, similar to the Grand Force Brooks small forest axe. Design of the head is different, but it's meant to be in that same market, but like half the price. Tomahawks, people would say these are weapons. Maybe the rifleman's hawk, more of a camp tool. I use both these in bow making for archery. I'm a bowyer and I make wooden longbows, and I use those all the time for that. The Viking hand axe, for instance, I've used it in the same capacity as well. I've used it for splitting timbers for smaller wood projects too that I do as well. All these, I decorate them and I modify them, but they are functional to me. Function comes over form first. But again, an axe is an axe is an axe is an axe. If I find a good use for it, and it works better at something than another axe or hatchet or tomahawk designed for whatever I'm doing, but this seems to work for me better, well, then it becomes a carpentry axe, something like that. Another thing that I see a lot of people ask or get asked about tomahawks and some axes is, can you throw it? You can throw anything. You can throw absolutely anything if it's thin enough to stick in a piece of wood. Doesn't matter if it's a hawk, an axe, a knife. Balance doesn't matter. If you want to learn about throwing, go on Facebook and find some of the axe and knife throwing groups, or tomahawk and knife throwing groups, or look up on YouTube, for instance, this guy that I know, Pat Minter, down in Texas. He's got a whole bunch of videos on throwing. He's a world champion knife and tomahawk thrower. It doesn't take balance. You just have to know distance and rotation, length of whatever you're throwing for your height and your throwing technique and consistency. Anything can be thrown. Balance is bullshit. If you go to logging shows, there's guys throwing double bit axes. Tell me that balance actually matters. It doesn't. So don't ever ask me that, please. They can all be thrown. Everything can be thrown. You can throw a nail. What I'm going to do is, though, in the future, some of these videos, I'm going to be talking about certain brands that I like and that I prefer, modifications that you can do to them, and uses. Because again, someone might look at this little cold steel pipe hawk here and think it's for throwing. Well, yeah, it is for throwing. The pipe, though, it's fake pipe. As you see, it's solid. Can be used as a hammer pole, so you can use this as a camp axe. Again, I use it in a carpentry roll even. it can be used for any number of things. It can be used as a weapon. It's a very fast handling tomahawk. The Rifleman's Hawk, on the other hand, a little bit heavy for that, but makes a good camp axe. I'd use it over my standard camp axe that I've had for years, that I only recently retired. But yeah, so we'll be talking about these. Maybe we'll do some outdoor videos of them in action, or even some carpentry videos so you can see. But yeah, if you have any questions about axes, my opinions on certain axes, on certain designs, feel free to drop a comment or shoot me a message, and I'll see what I can do to answer it for you.